Jess here, and welcome to my channel, and welcome to my Galaxyathon vlog. So I thought I'd try something new in March, and I'm going to be doing dedicated vlogs for each of my readathon, and this is my Galaxyathon one. So the books I'm going to be working on are these 5. We have The Mimicking of Known Successes, The Last Gifts of the Universe, To Be Taught If Fortunate, Finn and the Subatomic Slipslide, and The Darkness Outside of Us. As you can see, there's a bookmark here because I've actually already made progress on this. So let me run you through what I've read. I have read the entirety of The Mimicking of Known Successes, and I gave this 3.5 stars. This follows Pletty, who is kind of like a researcher and is trying to find a way to return to Earth because this book takes place on Jupiter. And she ends up crossing paths with her former girlfriend, Macy, who is an investigator and has shown up to investigate a man who went missing on a remote outpost on Jupiter, and ends up pulling Pletty into her investigation, and a lot of interesting things happen to the two of them during this investigation. I thought this was an intriguing mystery. I was definitely curious as to what happened to the missing man. I liked getting to learn more about the world because obviously we're on Jupiter, and it was interesting to see how things were set up for life there. I liked learning more about Macy and Pletty's relationship. I thought this was a solid start to a series. It is definitely one I would want more from because I like these like sci-fi mysteries. They're kind of intriguing. I thought that was a really interesting twist of having this man go missing, having it be set on Jupiter. So there's a lot of different things that could be involved in this that wouldn't make sense if this book was set on Earth, because you could definitely do this same setup of having Macy be an investigator who crossed paths with her ex-girlfriend at a university, and instead of having Pletty working to get back to Earth, she could be working on a program to get to Mars or something. And the concept would absolutely work as an Earth-based novel, but I like the twist of it being on Jupiter, and I thought that was really, really intriguing because it added some unknown instances to the story because you've completely changed the setting and you're learning about the world as you're reading. So I definitely think this is a solid start to the series, and I plan to continue with this series in April. And I will also mention I was reading this for Space Mystery. I think that was the wording of the prompt. Then I did say I started The Last Gift of the Universe because you could see my bookmark, and I'm reading this for space word in the title, and I'm using universe as my space word. I am currently on page 65, so I haven't really gotten much into it. We're just kind of setting up the characters and the world that we find ourselves in. I am enjoying it so far and am excited to learn more about this world and this book and what our characters are going to be going through. So that's the only update I have. I have not started these 3 yet, but I'm really, really excited about this one because I have loved everything I've read by Becky Chambers. So we'll see. I will check back in soon when I have some more books read and give you an update. And hopefully I will have finished this and started, hopefully this one, because I really, really want to read this one. So it is the 13th, and I have an update. I have finished some more of my Galaxyathon books. It has been an interesting readathon. That is for sure. I have been reminded of my love of sci-fi. My 5 on Friday last week was sci-fi books that were still on my TBR that looked really, really interesting. And my 5 on Friday for this week is going to be sci-fi recommendations, looking at books that I've read that are sci-fi that I really enjoyed. And so it's been really, really fun to kind of look at what's out there and look at books I've really, really enjoyed while also reading some sci-fis. So last time I checked in, I believe I had finished The Mimicking of Known Successes and had started The Last Gifts of the Universe. Since then, I have finished this, and I ended up giving this 3.5 stars. This follows Scout and their brother Kieran, along with their cat Pumpkin, who are on this mission. They are trying to solve the puzzle of what kind of wiped out civilization on all these various worlds, and they end up unearthing an object that allows them to see like video footage of somebody who was battling whatever was causing these worlds to die out. But unfortunately, there is a corporation who has also sent people out to discover these like orbs that are containing these messages. So they are racing against the clock to try to find them before the opposition does. And I like this. I liked getting to see Scout and kind of finding out why they are on the journey they're on. I like their relationship with Kieran. I think Pumpkin is a really fun addition because you don't really expect to see a cat in space, and he very much has his own little spacesuit and goes out on to these worlds with his humans. It is interesting seeing Scout and Kieran interact with the members of the other team who are looking for these orbs as well, because it creates an interesting dynamic. I also really like getting to learn about the person on the orb and the message that they left behind. On the audiobook, this is really, really cool because there's like a sound effect that makes it sound like a recording starts to play and the voice sounds like it's a recording. So I thought that was a really neat addition, and the audiobook helped really bring that bit to life. I think the reason this didn't get higher is because despite all of that, I feel like not a lot happened. We didn't have a lot of information as to what was really going on. And I think I just wanted more from it. I wanted more about what happened. I wanted more about Scout's background and how they ended up where they were, as opposed to the mini flashbacks we got. I wanted to know more about where they were going. I wish we had gotten to delve into things more. It was too short for me. I think that was the problem, is that I really like the concept of the story. I think I just wanted a lot more from it, and it felt like a series. I honestly expected there to be a series for this because it felt like there was so much more to explore. So I think that is my main issue with this, was not that I wasn't enjoying it, it was that I was enjoying it and I wanted more and I wasn't getting that more. So 3.5 stars felt fair. Then I picked up Finn and the Subatomic Slipside, and I gave this 3 stars. I was reading this for features aliens or deals with aliens or something like that. It definitely had something to do with aliens. And this is the 3rd book in the Finnverse series. And while it was a quick read, I did not enjoy it anywhere near as much as the first one. This series has definitely gone down for me. And I feel like there wasn't really any need for the series to go the way that it did. I found the first one quite humorous, and I really enjoyed some of the little touches in there that made me chuckle. And I feel like we didn't get as much of that in book 2 or book 3. I feel like a lot of this felt rushed. It all just happened too fast for me. And I feel like this book would have done better if it had been a little bit harder for our characters to accomplish what they were trying to accomplish in this, and it had been spread out a little bit more. I appreciate what the author was trying to do in this one, but I think it happened too quickly and felt too easily solved, and just, like I said, was missing some of that humor I really liked in the first one. So I'm happy to have completed the series and know how the story ends. I just feel like this would have been better if it had been longer and we had gotten this particular story dragged out a little bit, and it just didn't happen. So it didn't necessarily work for me, but it wasn't bad. So 3 stars felt fair. And then for Astronaut on the cover, I read To Be Taught If Fortunate by Becky Chambers, and I gave this 2 stars. I was so disappointed, y'all. This follows Ariadne, and she and 3 other flight members are on this journey to a far distant planetary system, and Earth has kind of grown their space program and their technology by leaps and bounds. They found a revolutionary method known as somaforming, and it allows astronauts to survive in hostile environments using synthetic biological supplementations. So we've really grown our technology that allows Ariadne and her crewmates to go on this journey, but it is so far away that Earth is completely transforming while they're gone. And that is kind of the story. It's Ariadne talking about her journey and her crewmates' journey, what planets they go to, what they find there, and brief glimpses as to what's happening on Earth, but knowing it's outdated because of how long it takes information to travel back and forth. And I just did not connect to the characters. I wasn't really connected to the story. I despised the ending. That brought my rating down even more. Like, this just barely scraped 2 stars, and that's because there were some things I did like about it. There were instances of moments that the characters experienced that I enjoyed and I thought were really well written and kind of made you think. And I think that's why it didn't get less than that. This is not going to be a book I keep, and that is surprising to me because I thought this was going to be an easy 5 stars given how much I've loved everything else I've read by Becky Chambers, but this just did not work for me. It was something I could have seen myself DNFing. But I had faith that Becky Chambers was going to make it all work, and it never got there. And like I said, the ending was so disappointing. I absolutely loathed the ending. So this was definitely not a book for me, and I did not have a fun time with it, even though I am giving it 2 stars because, like I said, there were some really interesting aspects during their journey where some questions were posed that definitely made you think. And I thought that was at least interesting, and there were some good discussions that took place around that. So there were brief moments of enjoyment, but for the most part, overall, this book just didn't work for me. Which leaves me with 1 book left, and that is The Darkness Outside Us. And I'm reading this takes place on a ship, and I know it is queer, as it was one of the options for my queer book club, and it was not one of the ones that was chosen. So I am very, very curious about this one. I've heard some really good things about this one, so I'm kind of excited to dive into this, and that is going to be my focus for the rest of this vlog, is wrapping this up, and I feel very confident that I can do that before the end of the readathon. So next time I check in with you, I will have finished this, and I will let you know my thoughts on the last book of the readathon. So we are back to wrap this vlog up, as I have finished the last book on my Galaxyathon TBR, which was The Darkness Outside Us, and I was reading this for Set on a Spaceship, and I gave this 4 stars. This follows a 17-year-old named Ambrose, who wakes up on his ship, the Coordinated Endeavor, and has no memory of the launch, is very confused and groggy, and has to try to figure out what exactly is going on. He quickly remembers that he is on a mission to go rescue his sister from Titan, which I believe is one of Saturn's moons. And as he starts to get his space legs, I guess we'll call them, and adjust to life on the ship and figuring out what's going on and what needs to be done, he starts to notice some really odd things, like things that just aren't quite matching up to what he would expect. He's also dealing with the fact that the operating system is using his mother's voice, and he's not alone on this spaceship, as there is another young man aboard who is part of this mission, who is a bit more reserved and quiet and doesn't really want to interact with Ambrose. So we see Ambrose trying to figure out what's going on, what happened to him, and why he's starting to notice these inconsistencies that don't feel like things are matching up. And I was so sucked into this. It was a really easy read. Like, once I got into it, I just didn't want to put it down. I had to force myself to put it down so that I could go to bed. There were so many twists and turns in this that I did not expect. And there was a pretty big twist partway through. I won't say exactly where. And my mind was blown at that. And I was wondering where we were going from there, because I wasn't expecting it. And then there were more twists after that. And it was just so brilliant and kept me engaged. It was really engrossing to be on this journey with Ambrose and trying to figure out what is going on and how things have happened that don't seem to make sense. Learning more about his shipmate and what his shipmate thinks about what's going on. And I had a fun time with this. This is not a new favorite or anything, but there is a sequel. I do plan to read it. And this was by far easily my favorite book that I read during this readathon. So I had a really, really good time with this. And I definitely think that if you're looking for a book with a lot of twists and turns and unexpected happenings, this is definitely a good book to check out if you're into sci-fi. So that was my Galaxyathon TBR. I didn't find any new favorite sci-fis, but I did really enjoy The Darkness Within Us. I found The Last Gift of the Universe and The Mimicking of Known Successes to be interesting reads that I had fun with. And I do plan to continue the series for The Mimicking of Known Successes. Finn and the Subatomic Slipslide wasn't my favorite ending to a series, but it did allow me to check a series off. And while I didn't really enjoy To Be Taught If Fortunate, it did have some interesting questions in it, so at least it wasn't an awful read. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with my Galaxyathon TBR. This was a really, really fun readathon. This is absolutely a readathon I would love to take part in if Macy decides to host it again next year. So thank you for hosting, Macy, and I hope that I get to join you again next year. Did you take part in Galaxyathon? If so, what was your favorite read of the readathon? Let me know in the comment section below. All of my social media is linked in the description below if you'd like to come chat with me. If you made it this far in the video, leave me space-themed emojis. Like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!